Hey there, Chad here for the AI Content Dojo. In this video, I want to explain how you can use Conversion.ai to create long-form blog post content on a budget. And I want to explain on a budget because I know that a lot of people will say that Conversion.ai is really expensive or it's too expensive for them. And and I just want to explain that there is a way to use Conversion.ai for the $29 a month plan. And when you use that plan, you get something like 20,000 credits. If you are not a subscriber to Conversion.ai yet and you use my link to buy it, you'll get an extra 10,000 credits to create the content that you need. And what I want to show is just a really simple way of creating some long form content using what would not be available under the budget plan, I guess. I'm not sure what they call it in Conversion.ai, but the pro plan is the unlimited plan that allows for just kind of free will and create as much as you want type of thing. But it's $109 a month. So for $29 a month, I'm going to explain how you can create a pretty good piece of content. And let's see, the way that I'm going to show this is using the blank document. I think that the blank document is available even if you're not on the pro plan. If that's not true, then you'll have to open up like a notepad or something next to Conversion.ai in order to get that. But the blank document essentially just looks like a notepad. And when you're in power mode, you get the power of all the templates on the left and a blank document for you to kind of put the content into on the right. So the article that I'm going to sort of create, I'm not really going to create a whole full article here in front of you, but what I'm going to do is kind of show you what you would do to lay it out, and then you can fill in the content of your article when you're ready. And so I'm going to do I'm going to do on the topic of finding the best ramen in Tokyo. I did this in a video yesterday, but the video yesterday was kind of it was a full video of other content as well, and the demo was at the end of it. This is a full demo showing how you would be able to get blog content from Conversion.ai. If you're used to my other videos, you'll know that most of them have been around shortly, and it's more of a blank canvas type of approach. Conversion.ai, as it is right now, is less of the blank canvas approach and more of a forms-based thing. So you go through their templates and you take the content from the templates and you put it into your document to create the content. In the future, because if you're probably aware of by now that Conversion.ai acquired Shortly, and it's working to introduce that sort of free-form writing in its platform. It's just not here yet. I believe it's going to be announced in a couple of days. So exciting times. But let's get started. I'm going to create an article about finding the best ramen in Tokyo. And the way I like to start off doing this is with a title. And just go down to perfect headline, product description. See, this says product description, but it's not really a product, but it's just kind of what you want to write a headline about anyways. And I'm just going to keep it really simple. Normally what you would do here is put as much description in there as you can to kind of give the AI something more to work with. I'm going to show you an example of if you kind of just barely put enough and then go from there. Finding the best ramen in Tokyo. Let's put Japan just to be extra. It's for my website, Tokyo Spark. The avatar, I guess, would be maybe foodies. And I don't know if I want to be funny, but maybe casual. And let's generate the content. Now, this is scrunched up a little bit because I'm zoomed way in so that you can see it better on the screen. So the content kind of gets generated, but then it gets generated under here. Normally, you'd probably, like if I zoom out a little bit, you'd see it something like this, you know. And so you go through and you find which one you kind of like. And I generated 3 outputs. If you're really tight on the word count, what you would do is instead of generating 3, maybe just generate 1 at a time and hope that you kind of get the right one out of it, I guess. Because every time you generate, it uses up words. So you just want to be a little bit careful. when you're on the budget plan. If you're on the unlimited plan, you just go at it as much as you want pretty much. And let's see, Tokyo's Best Ramen. I like that one. Here, let's do, I'm going to just write it out here. The best ramen in, we'll say Japan, because Tokyo is loaded with some of the best ramen. And see, I don't like how it uses best twice, but we can fix that at any point. Essentially what I'm trying to do is get to the point where I have a headline, because after I have a headline, I can go over here and to create an introduction, and I can just pop it in here. Audience would be foodies again, or it could be travelers or something like that. Let's stay casual and generate more content. And after a couple of seconds, it's going to have an intro paragraph for me to pick from. It's going to have 3 of them because I just left it at 3. If you're a foodie, you know there's nothing better than slurping some piping hot ramen. That's actually really true. I don't really like how it automatically goes into talking about one of the places, although that is a real ramen place. If you're considering coming to Tokyo, that's a really good ramen. Tokyo's a great thing. Yes, it can be fun in nearly every corner. Seen an explosion of popularity. Okay, let's pick this one. And we'll bring it over here. Now we've got our intro. Next up, we want an outline, right? So let's go here. Let's take that out. Come back up to our title. Paste that in there. Make it casual again. Get rid of some of these. And generate. So as you can see, like the way that you're creating content in Conversion.ai, at least as it is today, is you're just kind of going through a few steps. It's kind of like thinking about writing the content a little bit inverse than like what you would do with like a free-form writing tool or something. What is ramen? How does it differ? Why do Japanese love it? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's interesting. It goes into talking about it, but my content is what is the best. Brief history, where to find, what you should order. That's good. All right. This will be my outline. And so now I like to just go, what is it? Okay, just cut off right there because it couldn't get that much of an output. So sometimes when you see things like this where it kind of cuts off because the AI really couldn't produce more content than it already has. So there's like limits that OpenAI has, that when a tool like Conversion.ai or any of the other ones out there, when they go out to the AI to pull back content, they have a limit. And so sometimes when you get to the end of some of the created output, you'll see it's kind of cut off mid-sentence. That's just because the AI just didn't, there was no more room in the call to actually pull that down. And so they got to take that off. And let's see, 10 tips. Let's just cut that off right there anyway. We don't need all that. This is our outline. This is what's going to help us create the content that goes, up to probably for 6 points right here. You could probably get a good 800 to 1200 words, out of this at some point when you go through and fill in all these pieces of content here. And so what I also like to do is just go straight to the conclusion paragraph. And the main points is your outline. Do something like this, take off the numbers. Please bear with me while I remove the numbers. Something like that. And I usually just sort of crunch it together just in case. And the call to action is, please, I don't know. I don't really have a call to action on an article like this. Conversion.ai is very focused on converting, right? It's originally designed more for the marketing side of things. So creating long-form content sometimes sounds a little strange because it says call to action and different things like that, but you don't need to necessarily think of it like that. But please consider checking out my other guides or something. And let's generate 3. So it should pop up here in just a moment. Conclusion: you've been introduced to the history of Japan, ramen in Japan, where you can find some best ramen, and what you should order at each. It also looks like your main difference. Yeah. For more tips, please visit our other guides. Okay, good enough. I like it. Okay, so then it includes conclusion paragraph there, so you got to kind of remove that. But we're kind of there. So we have a sort of the outline, the skeletal structure of what is our long form content. I like to kind of format things a little bit like this more, because mobile phones are more probably your traffic source than desktop, and even though it's sometimes a little strange to be chopping up the paragraphs so short, I guess it's better for smartphone browsers, and so that's how I like to do it. So now what you would do is you would spend the time to go through your outline. Now I got a little bit of a tip here. If you're going to be creating a really long article, one thing that you can do is, let's get this broken out because we need some space to write in. You can use the blog post intro paragraph again, but use it on each of these headlines, sub headlines. But if you're going to go for a really, really long article, let's just do this real quick. We'll create blog post intro. Use this as the title. Brief history of ramen. Foodies, casual. That's fine. Generate. And what that's going to do is give me a paragraph that I can use in here. And then if I really, really want a long form content, what I would do is create a sub outline again. And that would be based off of this kind of section here in my content. Ramen was just a type of weed. Yeah, okay. Let's take that. Brief history. Paste it in there. Let's kind of cut it up a little bit. Okay. And then if you're going to be going for really long form, you would do another outline. You might not, with a title called Brief History in Ramen of Ramen in Japan, you probably don't want to go really far in this section. But I'm just going to show you as an example what you could do is now, because what you use an outline for is to kind of guide you through your article and give you sections to add content to, right? And each subsection is kind of its own little sort of, it's a related but sort of subtopic to the whole overall reason for writing the article. And okay, sure, we'll go with that. Yeah, good one. Okay, so then we paste in our sub outline, and now we've got, if you we don't need that. And so, okay, so now you have and the nice thing too is that inside of this document you can actually start doing things. So you can maybe make that a big bold H2, and maybe this one in H3, and give yourself the sort of structure necessary. I wish you didn't put the numbers on there, but it is what it is, I guess. And let's see, we need to probably turn this into, well, you would turn this into something shorter to be kind of a headline. You could probably maybe use, let's rephrase it maybe, or you could probably explain it to a fifth grader. That's still too long. At some point you should take over and start writing for yourself as well. As you can see, up to this point, it's been pretty much 100% Jarvis. That's not ideal. What you probably should do is get to the point where you've got enough content to start editing, and then making sure that you're turning it into your voice. You could probably wait a little bit more to the end, but don't forget to do that, because Jarvis writes in AI speak, more or less. It's really writing towards a human, but you can tell that it's AI written because it just kind of generally writes content. And you are the writer. You need to have your reader in mind, and that you actually spend the time to make that connection for the reader. This article is about finding the best ramen in Tokyo, so I need to really focus on helping that reader find the best ramen in Tokyo. So I probably wouldn't want to spend too much time on the brief history, right? You would really kind of spend more on where to find the ramen. You'd spend it here, right? And make that an H2. So now you've got this section where you start to fill in the content. Where to find the best ramen in Tokyo. We can go into the blog intro again. Come over here, paste it in. This is for foodies. Let's generate. And we can use that to kind of introduce this section. We can write some more on our own. And then basically that's pretty much the end of this tutorial. There's not really a whole lot more to it. I do want to say that, as you are finishing up all your content, make sure you're doing fact checking. Make sure that you kind of have that reader persona in mind. Go back through your content. Make sure there's not a whole lot of just sort of extra fluffy content that just is sort of filler. Doesn't really focus on delivering the content to the reader. And make sure that your article is just really high content. High quality, and also go to something like Grammarly or Copyscape and do a plagiarism check just to be sure. Should be fine, but in some cases you might have some pieces that get clipped by the AI, and you don't want to accidentally do that. Often served as a late night snack. Yeah, actually kind of is. Not right now during COVID. Like a lot of food places in Tokyo they close early because the city is recently ended their state of emergency, but yeah, so we can start going to ramen later at night now. But ramen shops in Tokyo are amazing. They would stay open till like 2, some of them till like 4 o'clock in the morning, especially when they're closer to a train station. Let's see, there's too much wordiness in those. No, this is previous. And you can see how it looks all huge and bolded, but again, that's because I'm zoomed way in. It's more like this. It's like a paragraph, right? I'm just zoomed way in to help you see it on the screen. But ramen is a staple dish in Tokyo. Okay, we'll just start there. It's just an intro, right, to the section. Of course, this would be something that you're StreamYard is, okay, I'm sorry, I'm reading the comments here. StreamYard is also asking to see all my posts in all groups that I'm subscribed. Interesting. Well, this is my first time using StreamYard and first time doing a live stream for one of these tutorial videos I'm creating. So sorry about that. So yeah, what you're going to end up doing is just go through all of the sections inside of your outline here. Fill in the content, make sure you're spending some time to make it your own words and stuff like that too. And eventually you'll have quite a few words done, right? Because I still have many sections to go. And if you are really shooting for a really long form content, you could still, like here, this one doesn't have its own sub outline yet. You could do outlines of outlines, right? So eventually you get to the point where you've probably got something like 12 or 15 little sort of subsections to fill in with a couple of paragraphs each. You could easily end up with a 1,500 word article. So that's how you would create an article in Conversion.ai using their non-pro plan, so that if you needed to do it on a budget, you could, and assuming that you don't need to create tons of articles every month. With this plan, I believe it's $29 a month, and you get 20,000 words. That does reset every month, so that if you use up your 20,000 words and you wait till the next month begins, you get another 20,000 words. Again, if you're not a subscriber to Conversion.ai and you use the link that I have down in the description somewhere at some point, then you'll get an extra 10,000 words to be able to produce a little bit more content. And since this is a live stream, I will just sort of open it up to any questions, if anybody has any, before I close out this stream and upload it to YouTube and everything. So if you're in the audience and you have any questions about how to do this in Conversion.ai, I'm all ears. Okay. Don't see anything yet. I guess if there's no questions, I guess either that means I did a really good job and you already know, or You just don't really want to ask any questions. Shortly or conversion better? Wow. I mean, I guess it's sort of like the reason I made this video was because I wanted to show how you could do something for the inside of the $29 plan. Comparing the $29 plan to Shortly is a little bit not fair. Shortly is quite an amazing tool, but I will say that I am testing the new stuff that's coming to Jarvis, and it will be available in a couple of days. Much of what Shortly is capable of doing will be available inside of Jarvis. I can't really say any more than that. That's the Conversion AI guys are going to be making some huge announcements in a couple of days, and you can see their teasers that are coming in their Facebook group. But at the end of the day, it depends, right? Shortly, if you're good with using the AI and you're good at writing your own content, and you don't necessarily need a lot of assistance, like these forms, these templates over here, they really provide a lot of assistance, because you're able to kind of go through the form to give it just what it needs, so that the AI can give you back just what you were looking for. Whereas in something like Shortly, you have to know how to craft it. So it does have a little bit more of a learning curve. But in the long run, if you learn it, you can do some really great things. Good question, Victor. Thanks for asking that. And Frank D, thanks for joining, man. And thanks for the kind words. Appreciate it. Sorry I goofed up the stream earlier. Yeah. But if anybody has any questions, I can hang out for a few more minutes. I actually kind of just started getting into Conversion AI more recently, and I never really was a fan of the forms based thing like this Power Mode has, but it can actually be quite helpful sometimes, because it's, when you're in this mode, this is kind of what more like Shortly would look like, right? You kind of just sort of a blank document, and you just kind of write and you hope for the best sometimes. In some cases, these templates over here do end up producing something a little bit more on point. You just need to learn which templates are best for what your needs are at the time. And sometimes, even though these templates say like, feature to benefit or personal bio or engaging questions or something like that, it is worth exploring them and using them in ways that maybe they weren't necessarily designed for. Because the output from them is just text, right? And at the end of the day, your article is made up of text. And so, sometimes one will produce something better than the other. And one more thing too is over here in the editor, if something comes up and sounds really kind of strange, it is worth just checking and seeing if the if the rephraser tool can give you something interesting to use. Okay, I like that better. So you can hit this and just replace it. Of course, you don't want to miss the highlight totally, but yeah. So, okay. I think I'm going to wrap this up. Thanks for joining the live stream, everybody. And this recording will be on YouTube and probably available inside of the Facebook group if the StreamYard stream thing leaves it there. I'm not sure how that works. This is my first one. So if you are not a member of the AI Content Dojo Facebook group and you are looking for others who are sharing ideas and talking about these tools, do a search on Facebook or look in the description below for a link and join, and we'll look forward to helping you make more out of these tools. And again, if you're not a subscriber, please consider joining with one of the links that I have in the description. It helps feed the dojo, keep the lights on, so to speak. And yeah, until next time, take care.